Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a load of bollocks. Tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about our top 10 games that were produced by Cool Mini or Not. Cool Mini or Not are generally regarded as kickstarting the Kickstarter revolution way back in like the early 2010s. In this video we're going to be counting down our top 10 games that are published by them. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below and hit the like button and all that shit. See you after this. Bollocks. So number 10 on this list is a bit of an oddity, really. It's a game called Raise Your Goblets. This is a game that comes with these really weird but quite nice plastic goblets, and the aim of the game is to poison your opponents before they poison you. You'll do this by dropping poison that's represented by these beads into their goblets, and then everybody will be required to drink from their goblet and get poisoned, or maybe not. Each player takes control of a special personality that has their own special ability. This game plays up to 12 players. It's best with maybe 6 players, but you can play it with 12, I suppose. So it makes for a really, really decent party game where there's all sorts of accusations, all sorts of backstabbing going on. And yeah, it's just a bit of a quirky game, you know, not the sort of thing that you would expect from Cool Mini or Not. So yeah, we really like this at a party game because it allows me to poison my family members legally. So number 9 on this list is another sort of hidden something or other game, right? It's Sheriff of Nottingham. You'll be revolving the role of the Sheriff of Nottingham, and you'll be placing goods and maybe contraband into these sealable bags, and you'll be trying to convince the sheriff to let you into Nottingham without opening the bag, and you getting caught out by being a drugs mule on the county lines in medieval England. You'll do this by offering bribes. You'll be trying to stitch up the sheriff. You'll be trying to stitch up your other players as well. And again, you'll have all these accusations flying around, all these laughs, all of these outrageous claims about what's in your bag and what isn't. And it is just a barrel of laughs. And again, it makes for a really decent party game. It's recently got a 2nd edition printing, which I don't really know much about. I think the 1st edition wasn't printed by Cool Mini or Not, but doesn't really matter, does it? It's printed by them now. So yeah, Sheriff of Nottingham are number 9 on this list of our top 10 Cool Mini or Not games. Right. So number 8 on this list is a game by Eric M. Lang, Before He Went Mad. This game is Rising Sun. This sees you take control of one of 8 different factions if you've got the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition, and you'll be trying to take control of different regions. On the board, you'll be summoning different monsters. You'll be going into battle against your opponents, and you'll be trying to forge alliances and maybe break them as well. This is the one thing that makes this game stand out from a lot of the other area control shit that's been released in the last decade or so. Is the fact that if you're playing with an odd number of players, then in what's called the T phase, you'll be able to make and break alliances, and there's always going to be somebody left out of the deal, right? If you add to that the absolutely amazing production quality of this game, I mean, it's probably one of the most finely produced games that we've ever seen, ever, anywhere. Then Rising Sun, whilst it's not really a balanced game, it's not really a highly strategic or complicated game. It is aesthetically astonishing on a table, and it just gives you like maybe 2 hours of hack and slash, invasion, and just a jolly good time, right? Rising Sun. Number 8. So number 7 on this list sees us start to dip our toe into the world of miniatures games, which is what CMON are most famous for, right? This is Rum and Bones. In this game, you will be taking the role of different pirate factions. You'll be facing off against each other on 2 ships. You'll take control of captains that are the strongest members of your faction, and then you'll be taking control of the crew that will just push forward in wave after wave of attacks, and you'll be trying to get 8 victory points that will allow you to win the game, right? This game has more characters, more captains, and more special miniatures than any other game I've seen. We've got quite a bit of this stuff, but we're still missing like the Hammers of Ragnarok expansion and various other different Kickstarter exclusives. But the amount of content in this game is absolutely astronomical. There's more stuff that you could play in 17 lifetimes, right? But it's still quite a fun game. It does play best with 2, even though there are rules for 4 players. I think some people have tried to play it with more than that. It's not complicated. There's no heavy strategy involved with this one. It's just a case of grab your captains, grab your crew, get stuck in and try and kick your opponent's ass. Love it. So number 6 on this list is a game that started it all for Cool Mini or not really. It's Zombicide. This is the game that's credited for starting the Kickstarter revolution, aside from Kingdom Death Monster as well, right? But Zombicide has now had more iterations than I have had dumps. You've got the original Zombicide, which straddled 3 different seasons, each with its own sub-season expansion. Then you had the Black Plague, then you had the Green Horde Invader, Zombicide 2nd Edition, the Night of the Living Dead edition. It's got too big, right? I don't give a monkey's ass about anything that's come after the 1st edition because I don't need any more content. I've got enough stuff in these 3 boxes to last me until the day I die. In fact, I'm going to be buried with them so that I can play Zombicide from beyond the grave, right? But again, trademark of Cool Mini or not, the rules are basically just throw away. You're going to be moving around the modular board. You're going to be trying to complete an objective whilst hacking and slashing your way through hordes of the undead. That is all there is to it, yeah? It's pure Ameritrash. A lot of the scenarios are really unbalanced and probably don't work very well, but who gives a toss about that? The sheer spectacle of seeing hordes and hordes of zombies attacking your player and you getting out with your ass intact is more than worth the price of admission for this one. So if you haven't played Zombicide, you're a bit of a dick. So number 5 on this list is a Viking-themed board game that's, surprise, surprise, designed by Eric M. Lang. There's going to be a lot of Eric Lang games on this list because he was actually employed solely by CMON to produce their games, right? But yeah, whatever. In Blood Rage, you'll be taking on the role of a Viking clan. You will be vying for control of different regions. You'll again be summoning monsters and you will be drafting cards that will maybe give you options in combat. They might give you quests to complete and various other bits and pieces. This is often seen as a precursor to Rising Sun. But again, this is sort of like an unbalanced game. Some of the strategies involved, like doubling down on some of the quests, may be an easier way to win a game. Again, the production value of this one is absolutely astronomical. The card drafting mechanism, whilst we've seen it before, is really, really enjoyable, and it only lasts for about an hour and a half. And if you love area control, you will love Blood Rage, no doubt about it, right? One of the finest games that we've ever played. And yeah, it's our number 6 on this list of best Cool Mini or not games. So number 4 on this list is a game that isn't produced by Eric M. Lang. It is designed by one of our favourite game designers, maybe our complete favourite game designer, Paolo Mori. This is Ethnos. In this game, you will be collecting cards of various factions like wizards or halflings or wing folk or merfolk, and you'll be using those cards to take control of areas on the board. You'll be trading these sets of cards in for points, and the cards have dual uses. They have the colour of the card and they also have the suit of the card that you can use. And there's also different maybe mini game type stuff attached to each faction, so you can focus on that as well. Ethnos has sort of been criticised for looking a bit shit, yeah? The colours are muted, the board is really small, the artwork is a little bit poo, right? But having said that, this is a fascinating game. I think there's 12 expansions in the box and you can choose a certain amount of them, so the game is going to be changing every time you play it. This game is crying out for a bloody expansion. Paolo, where the bloody hell are you? Get off the toilet and make a fucking expansion. But as it stands, we're left with just a core set and maybe the Fairies expansion. If you can burgle someone's house to get enough money to pay for it, Ethnos is without doubt one of Paolo Mori's most successful games and also one of our favourite games of all time. So get it, got it, fuck off. Number 3 on this list is another game by Eric M. Lang. It's Arcadia Quest. In this game, you'll be taking control of various chibi characters. These are like these cute sort of anime type characters. You will be moving around this modular board trying to complete objectives of scenarios. You'll also, in a wonderful twist of events, you will also be able to attack your other player to complete the player versus player objectives, right? So you're not just running around a dungeon focusing on external threats, you're also focusing on threats that come from within your group as a whole, right? This game has a leveling up system baked into the scenario progression. You'll be completing 6 scenarios in succession. You will have achievements that you can complete that will give you boons for the next round. It's a very, very simple game. There are some sort of cloudy rules to do with line of sight and when monsters move in and out of spaces. But that aside, this is a truly, truly simple game. Again, it's spawned so many expansions like the Inferno expansion, the Arcadia Quest expansion, and there was also crossover packs for a complete and utter car crash of a game called Masmora. In the true Call Me or Not tradition, there is maybe too much content for this game, but that doesn't detract from the fact that it is highly enjoyable and very, very simple to learn. So yeah, Arcadia Quest, absolutely superb game. We love it, and you should love it too. So number 2 on this list is a game that, truth be told, our copy isn't actually by Call Me or Not, but it is now produced by Call Me or Not. It's Project Elite. In Project Elite, you will be taking control of a band of sort of space marines trying to defend a futuristic facility from hordes and hordes of aliens. This is a real-time game where you'll be rolling dice and taking actions dependent on what symbols you roll on the dice. You might be able to move around to complete different objectives. You might be rolling guns that will allow you to put dice on weapons and will allow you to maybe shoot in a straight line or maybe activate different types of equipment. There's also alien technology that you can collect in this game. The original version of this by Tibia Games and Miniatures were absolute dog shit. I mean, they were just lumps of plastic, and there was a huge push to try and get Cool Money or Not to take over the license of this one, and they did, and they've produced a stellar game with wonderful production values that hasn't really lost any of the impact or tension of the original game, right? The more and more I think about this, the more I want to go out and get the new version, because the original version was so good. I just don't know whether or not the two versions are actually cross-compatible. If anyone knows whether they are, could you please leave a comment in the relevant section down there, because it would be nice to know about that. But yeah, Project Elite, highly thematic, a very tense game, and yeah, one of our favourite games by Call Me or Not, and probably one of our favourite games of all time, yeah. So number 1 on this list is a game that, again, is designed by Paolo Mori. It's Dogs of War. I absolutely adore Dogs of War. In Dogs of War, you will be assuming the role of a mercenary that's going to be hiring units to put into battle on behalf of different warring factions, right? Sound complicated? It ain't. You'll be hiring units, and then you'll be assigning those units to different factions that at the end of the phase will go off against other opposing factions in a majority style battle. The good thing about this is that you can cooperate with different members of your group on one battle, whilst in the next battle you can then actually try and stitch them up, yeah? So the alliances in this game are completely fluid. You're going to have sort of bribes and people slagging each other off, shouting each other over the table, and it's a very, very simple game to learn. It's got one of these hidden scoring mechanisms at the end of the game where you can be pushing these flags up this track to get extra points at the end of the game. We really like that in games when you really don't know until the end who has won. You've got an idea, but you've always got that chance of somebody just pushing themselves over the line right at the death. Dogs of War, some superb miniatures for this. Admittedly, they are just for aesthetic reasons, but it's our favourite Call Me or Not game. It may not have the excess of some of the other games on this list, but that is part of its charm. It's pure, it's simple, and we love it a lot. So there you go. That's our top 10 games produced by Call Me or Not. Do you agree with our list? If you don't, you can leave a comment down below, but we probably won't look at it because we don't give a shit. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. Hit the like button and all that shit. I'm going to see you next Tuesday.